the Destiny's Bounty, something that is famously a boat that also for some reason flies. But obviously, boats are kind of boring. And of course, anything that has a dragon head should obviously be a dragon, right? So that's what I did today. I'm gonna turn this boat into an actual dragon, using only the pieces from this set. So the first thing is, this head from the bounty is gonna stay the same. And second of all, the two large sails from the set, it kind of look like wings. So we're gonna turn these into wings, and we're still gonna maintain the kind of basic function where it can flap up and down, kind of like a play feature that you see in an actual dragon set. Okay, so now we have an update. As you can see, my desk is very messy right now, and we've made some very chonky legs, and these turn out pretty well. And we just have now made a neck for the dragon. So yeah, I'll come back with the front legs and then some other updates. As we can see here, we have some ancient hieroglyphics showcasing some type of dragon, most likely used in a ritual. Well, anyways, we have the front legs now, and they only have 2 toes because, you know, we have to conserve materials, resources. So yeah, now we have all the limbs. Now we just need the main body to connect it all together. And now I finally have another update. So basically, we started building up the basic base of the body, and I spent way too long trying to get the bottom of this completely right. And you know, it turned out pretty well, but the effort that went into making this and making it all right and going through all that trial and error, I don't know, man, wasn't worth it. Finally, after what seems like an eternity, we finally have the finished model. Now, first of all, I need to point out that this build has something that I like to call the Ender Dragon Syndrome. What do I mean by this? So, as you can see, this dragon has front legs that are very flimsy, and when you try to pose it on the ground, it's very easy to just push to the ground. And the problem with this dragon here is that because it was supposed to be a boat, so it doesn't have any of the actual joints that a kind of dragon would have. So this means that I had to use all these pins that this Ender Dragon also used, which makes it very flimsy to try to keep up such a huge amount of weight. And even though the boat actually had like these kind of ball joints, they were still connected to these technic pins, so that wouldn't work. So you gotta be very careful and just pose it in there just the right way so that it doesn't fall off. And the second thing is that even though before I said I would try to make a play function where the wings would be able to flap up and down, the problem with that is that I actually had a pretty good mechanism, but then, as you can see, it puts incredible strain on these type of chains. And so, which is why I decided to not go through with that and to instead just to have this normal chain. As you can see, it still kind of works, where it allows for the wings to flap simultaneously. And for the articulation, we have a head that can move very fluidly, and we have some front legs with only the kind of shoulder joints, also the toe joints, which is very sad because there's no knee joints. Obviously, that's for the basic stability because it's super heavy. You can't really sustain all the weight on just like a few clips. And on the back legs, we have like an, I guess, ankle rotation and also a toe rotation, but we don't have the knee rotation again, and that's a bit more for like the, I guess, general aesthetics and also for more general stability. And of course, I try to make it look good on all of the angles. On the bottom, we have a very nice red finish and curve, and we also have a sharper curve that's going up all the way to the head to make it feel like it's a lot more like scaled and a lot more finished. And of course, for the seat, we have an epic gaming chair that is pretty simple but serves a pretty basic function that works pretty well. And as you can see, there is a very detailed back all the way up I used a bunch of ways to slope the back so it kind of slopes up to this type of arch and then slopes down. So yeah, as you can see, it kind of moves. But it has very nice paneling, and of course there's some sticker pieces because yeah, that's part of the set. And the tail, even though it's very simplistic, I still think it works very well. Use some of these sword pieces, and yeah, there wasn't a lot of extra resources I could use, but I still think it turned out very well. And again, we can see without the wings, see how like absolutely chunky this guy is. And yeah, that's kind of to keep the style of the actual bounty, but to give it a kind of more lifelike and more mobile look. And overall, I think that this turned out way better than I ever thought it would. I mean, just being able to turn what is essentially a big block of wood into a very agile and lifelike kind of being is a huge turn. And just one thing that I wish I could have added was to be able to add kind of like that kind of Japanese building that the boat actually had. But I wasn't able to do that because the back was way too small and it just would have looked very weird. But yeah, in conclusion, I think that this was very successful. So if you liked what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.